did the Quasi turn out? Did he go to the hospital? Or?
Yeah, I went to the hospital. He was released that night. He was in yesterday. He's in a sling. It's not surgical. He's got a rehab program that he's on, and hopefully he'll be fine. He's been invited to the obviously the Cactus Bowl and the Texas versus the World Bowl. I'm hopeful that he'll be invited to the East-West game. I think that would be huge for him right now, and I think it's what the scouts need to see with him. And so I think the pro scouts will. I'm going to be disappointed if he's not in the East-West. I think it's important for him, and I think it's important for the scouts to see him against Division I talent.
When do they put out the invites for the combine?
I'm not sure when the date is, but he'll be right on the edge for the combine. I would think it would be a real positive for him to be invited to the combine, because what he has, the body of work he has, and this is the positive thing about him, is nobody can argue about his height, nobody can argue about his weight, nobody can argue about his speed. Everybody is aware of that. So those physical skills are there. And then the body of work he has in special teams, despite the last month people not kicking to him, the body of work he has, I had 2 scouts come in here and say he would start right now for us as a punt returner and a kickoff returner. But he can be more than that. I mean, he can go down on kickoffs, he can be a gunner on a punt team, he can return punts, he can return kicks. And so when you get to deciding, do we take a Division II guy or not, here is height, weight, speed, and here is proven special teams ability. So when a scout starts to look at this guy, it's a lot easier for him to say, hey, this guy may be 2 or 3 years in the making until he's a starting safety for us. But in the meantime, he's going to make our special teams better. And he's got the ability, he's got the top end. He's faster than most safeties are. And that's a unique thing about our scheme, which really has helped him, is that most people play their corners up and their slower safeties back. And we've always been of the philosophy that we want our better people at the back end, right? More interceptions. But he's actually playing what most people are projecting him as being. And we've had a couple scouts come in and say, hey, we've got guys playing back there who are 4.7 guys. Ryan Clark, who I coached, Ryan Clark doesn't compare in speed to a Quasi. Dave McLuhan, who was the 49ers were here. Dave was the last white corner that I had drafted in the 3rd round. He played a long time, was punt returner, kickoff returner, and he came in and I said, he said, well, compare him to me. I said, Dave, he's taller, he's heavier, he's faster, he's smarter, he's a better return guy. But he didn't practice every day with 4 other NFL players, and he didn't practice against a first-round wide receiver like you did every day. He just didn't. That's the problem with Division II. But I said, in terms of ability, he can compete.
Geographically, will recruiting change at all?
A little bit. We're going to we're going to put DK, I think, in Eastern PA in Philadelphia, and we just heard from Rhonda Lucky that it looks as though Maryland is going to become a reduced state in terms of cost, and if that's true, Ryan Eden will probably get into Maryland. And so we'll end up with 2 in Eastern PA, 2 full-timers in Eastern PA, 2 full-timers in Western PA. Ryan Eden in Maryland. DK will also do some national recruiting where we see the need or an opportunity. And then I've taken the vast central PA area, and for the first time we're going to have Ty Citero help me in that area, and hopefully that'll free me up to maybe get to some of the other areas when I'm needed.
How many players do you want to bring in, freshmen?
I would say we probably want to bring in 20.
Big needs are offensive line, West, and wide receiver.
And corner. You know, we'd love to have it, you know, I mean, almost every position we will try to fill, but we'd love to have a big body on the defensive line. We have not been very big there, and so that would be a...
Is tailback about the only spot that seems to be set?
I mean, tailback right now, if everybody does well academically, I mean, I think we've got 4 guys who can carry the ball for us. But if there's a great tailback out there, you know, we'd recruit them. And competition is good, and tailbacks can play other spots.
Who's the 4? And Tuck Johnson and obviously Tobias.
And Martinez.
Okay.
I mean, Martinez may have the best yards per carry average and the best fumble per carry average.
Carries per fumble. I imagine you don't anticipate changes with the staff. I mean, you went through the recruiting areas, it sounds like, as far as you know.
Yeah, I mean, you never know when you might lose somebody, and I certainly wouldn't stop anybody who would have an opportunity they felt was better. But there's nothing that I'm aware of. Usually happens closer to National Letter Day when you can't afford to lose a guy.
Usually timed with the AFCA convention too, isn't it?
Yeah, and not many of our guys go. You know, that doesn't mean that they can't get jobs. Torts interviewed before William & Mary a couple of years ago. I mean, we've had guys who have interviewed other places, but you know, even had a head coach do that once. So.